Before a captive audience of hundreds of senior military officers on Tuesday morning, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth asserted his vision for how the U.S. military will physically look and act. And then the ultimatum: if you don't agree, resign. The right policies, according to Hegseth, center on his broader campaign against past efforts that he has deemed woke, aimed at promoting diversity or accommodating troops, the specifics of which were made official in 10 directives sent out to military leadership as he spoke. There will be no, quote, fat troops, unquote, or fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon, Hegseth said. Troops will be clean shaven, and the military will offer few, if any, exemptions, either for religious or medical needs. There will be only male physical standards for combat jobs, and if that means there are no women in those roles, quote, it is what it is, unquote, Hegseth said. Hegseth's remarks were delivered to generals and admirals who were ordered on short notice to attend the event at the military installation in Quantico, Virginia. What do you think of this remaking of the military, of Pete Hegseth's vision? Is it the right or wrong direction? Now is the time to join us on Hello Houston. You can give us a call or send us a text, 713-440-8870.
Well, where do you even begin with
Unbelievable.
this? First of all, yes, there is nothing wrong with wanting our police, our military, to be physically fit to do their job, to be capable of doing what's expected of them. Is there a different way to put it? Can you word these things differently? Is part of what you need from different positions in the military mind strength over physical strength? What is going on here? Just the lack of tact in how it was done.
This is a lot.
I mean, aren't there physical requirements for flight attendants? Or have
I don't
been
think
in the past?
anymore. There used to be
for weight. And it was a way of saying you've got to be thin.
Right.
But it was at least they were polite about it, even if
I don't know if old airline stewards and stewardesses had it in the most polite way when they told them how they had to weigh a certain
I'm sorry.
amount.
We have a YouTube comment. Our YouTube comments are going off right now. But Skippy the Tub Rat says this meeting could have been an email.
Oh, yes. It was
Wow.
kind of where I really had the most offense. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay. I'm not okay. I get what he was saying there. I think it was inappropriately said. I think there's other ways to say it. Well, the part that really bothered me was the comment about dudes in dresses. No more dudes in dresses. And I just thought, again, lack of sensitivity, lack of understanding of a situation. The transgender individuals are not dudes in dresses. You can say we don't support health care for transgendered individual. It's a whole different way you could go. Dudes in dresses is just rude and inflammatory language.
Alex Garza asked, does fat people include the commander-in-chief?
Oh, because he is he is the head of the military.
Well, he's the commander-in-chief.
That's part of it.
And I'm sure he walks the halls of the Pentagon.
Well, his doctor will tell you he's a perfect physical specimen, as we have seen from his other checkups,
and
his annual checkups.
What is this about women? That they're just, if they can't meet the physical part of the combat role, then they just don't need to be there. I know. Celeste is trying to take a deep breath.
Listen, okay.
I'm just a
between the
messenger.
government shutdown and then we're seeing these, woo.
I know. We're living in a very dark time in terms of human rights.
Odd gathering, and they flew these people in from all over the world to be there, to have
on short notice.
Yes, for this very important meeting, which was kind of I think they thought it was going to be a pep rally of some sort. And
I mean, let's start with don't accidentally text the military operation plan to your mother. Let's start there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the guy in charge of saying, you can't be fat and you're going to be clean shaven and no dudes in dresses.
And listen, if you're watching our YouTube channel, you can see some
Celeste
of the
getting a headache.
nonverbal.
I guess my problem with this topic is there's so many ways to go with it. It's hard to have a focused conversation.
That's exactly right. I feel like there is a lot to unpack on so many different levels, on a very serious level. I mean, I don't necessarily, I mean, I think that the one thing that everybody can align on is, of course, we want our military to be physically fit as much as we want them to be emotionally prepared for what they are going through or what they will potentially see, as well as we want them to be studied on geopolitics and culture to understand when they're in other countries. So there are certain things that we all can get behind. But the delivery was just so extreme, I think. And I think there are a lot of people, regardless of where you stand politically, that probably could see some real concern about what they were saying in the way they were saying it.
Career military are not going to have a size 32 waist their whole life. Yeah. I mean, there's ways that God made you that you're just going to get bigger in your waist as you get older.
The military guy in the Village People has gotten heavier over the years. It's happening everywhere. Hopefully somebody can help focus us in. Okay. So let's go to the phone. 713-440-8870. Charlie is on the line from the Woodlands. Charlie, help us with this one.
Well, I'm an ex-officer in the military, and I think the whole thing is actually comical. We have a commander-in-chief that couldn't be accepted in the military because he's convicted sex offender, and he's a convicted criminal, and he's about 100 pounds overweight. And I think it's just a comical thing that they're coming down with this, and he's our commander-in-chief.
You left out the bone spurs.
Oh, we could go on forever about this thing. I am offended by what happened at this meeting the other day, and I'm offended that he's our commander-in-chief.
Yeah, we didn't even start to talk about the things that Trump said. We've been focused on what Hegseth said, and then Trump had a bunch of interesting comments to make as well. And it's just, and I think you're with us on this, Charlie. It's like, it's comical, but it's also so serious. But because it's so outrageous, it's hard to even take a moment and look at the seriousness of it because we're so shocked by the outrageousness of it.
Right. And I do want to mention that we do have 49 YouTube viewers, and you can see our actual physical reactions to this on YouTube.
Well, and call me extreme here, but you wonder how far this is away from changing the way they march and perhaps changing the way they salute.
We shall see. Charlie, thank you very much for calling and sharing your thoughts on this with us.
And listen, if you thought that this was a phenomenal speech and that this is exactly what needs to be the precedent that needs to be set within our country, please join the conversation. 713-440-8870.
Also, just to go to another point in all of this before we get into more comments, the president's comments on how people walk upstairs and that we have to pay attention to walking upstairs because, if you fall on the stairs, that's going to be with you forever. I mean, we had a president before who couldn't walk upstairs, but that...
he rambled on and on about the most...
that Obama knew how to take those stairs. I don't agree with him on most things.
Talk about a fit
president. He could move up those stairs, and then he danced it.
I think Obama's the fittest president that we've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he really played a lot of basketball.
He was very active.
Watched what he ate.
And he knew how to take the stairs, according to our current president. 713-440-8870. Linda from Southwest Houston. What are you thinking?
Well, I had a chance to talk to your person who answered the phone, so I'm breathing a little more normally than I was at first. I thank you very much for airing this issue. I'm a military brat and am descended from several people that served their country and were honored for that in World War I and World War II. So naturally, I'm taking this a little bit personally. Sure. And the part that I'm taking personally is the contempt with which these military people were spoken to. These are commanders who have given their lives in service to this country, and they were treated as buffoons. They were just treated as they were... there was no understanding of what's involved in service to this country. And in fact, I kind of feel like that's across the board in people that are engaged with nonprofits, that work for the government, that give to the service of this country continually with joy and dedication and an understanding that their lives are well lived. And so back to my word contempt, I'm just devastated that this is how our executive is conducting itself, and the arrogance The absolute unmitigated arrogance of this is just shocking. All right. I need to go breathe. But thank you very
well,
much.
Linda, as you go to breathe, I just want to thank you for refocusing this conversation a bit. And in no way do we mean any disrespect to all of the brave individuals who serve our country and give their lives for this country. And so I think the absurdity of what we saw yesterday, and I don't think I'm wrong for using that word, really does just boggle the mind in some ways. And so, Linda, take a deep breath. If you need to, grab that paper bag and breathe
Hello,
into
Houston is here for you, Linda, but she brought up some excellent points.
Well, it was an insult. If you're one of the people sitting in that audience who has made a career of the military, and now you're being told no more fat people in the military, and you've got to be clean shaven, and no dudes in dress. And this is a really strong way to go about anything.
It was
anything.
an odd presentation, to say the least.
It may bite him at the voting box, I'll tell you that.
Well, the other part of it is that it was given as though it was a graduation address or speech in that.
It's like a lecture. We're going to lecture you.
But
like
not even
children.
a lecture. It's like kind of a celebratory, hey, you guys made it through West Point or whatever, and here's the president to talk. But even for that, it would have been an awkward space.
Right. 713-440-8870. Richard from Spring. Richard, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
Yeah, hi, guys.
Hi.
Just real quick, I think that considering what might happen with China in the next few years, they're talking about Taiwan in 27. I think that it may be a good thing, and granted, I don't agree with how they did it, but just really say, hey, guys, we have got to really stiffen up and be more male, testosterone, whatever you want to call it, because things could go down really soon that are going to be really bad. And we may want to look tougher than we are.
And Richard, I don't think anyone disagrees with the idea, or shouldn't disagree with the idea, that our commander-in-chief and our secretary of quote-unquote war can gather their troops, can gather their admirals and generals and have a talk to them about the direction they want the military to go. It's just the way it unfolded was just so strange. Don't you agree?
That's the way Trump does things.
Yeah.
It's all theater. He wants to come down hard, and obviously all the people around him are going to, bow to him, and that's the way he does it.
Yeah.
Well, and then to have this mandate, if you don't agree, get out.
Yeah.
Just resign.
Richard, thank you for calling. And we're going to go to Wayne from North Houston. Wayne, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
My comment, I did 20 years of service to this country. It's nothing comical or funny. I lost a lot of friends in Afghanistan in the Gulf War. America should wake up, quit playing, letting this man knock this country down brick by brick. This is not a, what you want to call it, a red skeleton show, because I'm 65 now. And he was always talking about the flag and what he was discussing, and him and the young people was discussing. I don't care how fat or whatever size you are. If you took that oath to protect this country, you're a patriot. All these folks that's sitting around here, these people willing to lay their life down. I don't care if they had a beard like Santa Claus. We getting freedoms by folks performing in this service of willing to lay their life down for this country. And for them to be sitting up there laughing, playing with our, I liberated some countries, but what's taking place in America, I liberated some countries, was getting shot at. And these people sitting up here hollering about Trump. Trump is not acting like a commander-in-chief. At first I got mad because he called me a sucker and a loser because he didn't want to get his hair wet. When I was standing in mud up to my nose, couldn't breathe, and he worried about his hair. My thing is this here. America needs to wake up, letting this man knock the fabric of this country down. I don't even call it theater because people's lives is on line. This man is blowing folks up in a boat, saying that people got drugs and fentanyl. The little speedboat, when they would have ran out of gas before they got to Cuba.
Wayne, thank you. for your service and for your comments today. If you're listening to this and you actually watched the speech yesterday, the two speeches yesterday, and you thought it was in line with where we should be going and the direction this country should be going and the rhetoric was appropriate, please give us a call. We would also like to hear from you, too. Teresa is on the phone at 713-440-8870. Teresa, what's on your mind?
Well, I'll try to make it brief. There was so much in the absurdity, the arrogance, the just the lack of focus. It was such a demeaning speech that I don't even want to begin to speak about that. But I can only assume that the speakers, Hegseth and Trump, were in some way appealing to their base or their supporters. So what really scares me, as much as the speeches themselves, is the fact that there are people out there to whom it would appeal.
Yeah.
And so I'm just left wondering about that. And that's all I have to offer.
Teresa, thank you for that. It's the separation between when you're actually in office and making policy as opposed to like a campaign stump where you go out there and you're engaging your supporters in a certain way. I think we're losing sight of those two different things.
And again, 713-440-8870. You're listening to Hello Houston. You can join the conversation. Pete from the Galleria is on the line. Pete, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
Hey, good afternoon, folks.
Hi, Pete.
I do have some comments, although I'll be honest enough to admit that I did not listen to the whole speech of either Hegseth or Trump. And honestly, I doubt if many of the previous callers did so. But I don't see any problem whatsoever in expecting every member of the military to be fit and to be physically capable of responding in an emergency. Even if you're not a frontline combat troop, you may find yourself in that situation. It's a vocation, it's a calling that really requires that. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was Frank that said, in essence, that God makes us, has designed us to grow fat as we get old. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that it's a first world problem that we have where we have so many calories available to us and so much relative leisure compared to folks who really do struggle in this life. So that's what I would have to say.
Thank you, Pete, for joining us on Hello Houston. I think that's what is so interesting, right, is that there are things that we can see and agree on and have some commonality, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like I was saying, I think that everybody wants, when we are looking at our soldiers, one, we have the utmost respect for them, and we want to make sure that we are setting them up for when they are going into combat, when they are going to serve our country, that they are prepared. And a lot of that is very physical. So as Pete was pointing out, I think that is a no-brainer. I think we can all get behind that. Right. The question becomes is how the president, and I know that we also had, we heard as well from Richard, who was saying, that's President Trump. He kind of does these types of things. That's his MO, kind of being out there and flashy and in your face. So it's that I think we need to find alignment on
I
these
think it
type
was
things.
more how the message was delivered than saying, you know what, we need to reinforce and remember the physicality of being in the military and that we need to work toward that, as opposed to no more fat people. There's a tact missing here. And also, if you're a general in an office, do you need to have a 32-inch waist? Probably not. If you're sitting behind a desk and you are strategically strategizing how we move forward, it's different skills need different skill sets, and that's all I'm going to say.
And after decades in the military, your knees give out, your back gives out. So being able to be as physically fit at age 55 or 60 as you were at 25, it's just very different, is my point. And it's hard. The older you get, the harder it gets.
713-440-8870. Mike is on the line from League City. Mike, what's on your mind?
Hi, guys. I just want to say thank you for talking about this issue. I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years, and one of the things that everyone's forgetting about this is the language is directed at volunteers. Every single one of these generals, even though they're career military personnel, they are still volunteers that serve this country. And if you imagine being this hard on volunteers of any other nonprofit organization or any other NGO program, and basically coming down on people who are already volunteering their time away from their families, hardly watching their kids grow up sometimes, to come down on them this hard and say, do better. Ask any person that operates at a high level in the military, and they will tell you they're crunched for numbers to get candidates in the right roles, in the right positions. And so there's a difference. While I can agree with saying, hey, time to trim the fat, I understand that. But you need to make sure you curtail that message towards volunteers and lead with compassion.
That's a very good point.
Excellent.
I didn't even think of that.
Excellent.
Because there are career generals that we're talking about, but no one has been conscripted in a long time in this country. The draft ended quite a while ago, and even those people, I wouldn't want to say they were not volunteers.
Yes.
They got sort of pulled into the Army at one point. But yeah, these people are volunteers, and they're volunteering and putting their lives on the line for us. And now we're going to get all tough with them?
Right. Well, Mike, we're going to have to leave the conversation at that point. Thank you very. Oh, wait, we got another call that just came. Boy, they come fast and furious.
Yeah. And we're going to take this call. Mark is on the line. Mark, welcome to Hello Houston. Mark is from the East End. What is your comment or question?
Hey, how are you all doing?
Good.
You have a great program, by the way. I just want to say that I thought the speech, I didn't watch all of Hegseth, but I did watch all of Trump's. I thought his speech was phenomenally embarrassing. this man represents our military and our country, and he made an absolute fool out of himself. He rambled. He talked nonsense. He went off against Joe Biden over and over again with the stupidest comments, and most of what he said, as usual, were lies. My father fought in World War II in the Pacific. My oldest brother, retired from the Army as a lieutenant colonel. He was so devastated by the speech. He watched the whole thing himself. He was so devastated by the stupidity and the arrogance and just the ignorance of what the man was saying. It was just embarrassing to us as a country. It was more embarrassing than the speech he gave at the United Nations. And that was, I thought, over the top.
Mark, thank you
Mark.
for that.
And thank you to your family for their service, Mark. We do appreciate it.